Good evening. My name is Alexis Smith. I'm a senior here at Harris-Stowe State University at the Anheuser-Busch School of Business, where I'm currently studying business with a focus on entrepreneurship. So today I will be briefly speaking with you just about my research paper that I conducted throughout the course of my organizational behavior and development class. And the research paper will just discuss, the company that I chose and talk about the organization structure, their culture, some of the fun perks and, cool benefits that they may offer, and just some recommendations that I feel may be beneficial to the company as they continue to grow, and things of that sort. So the company that I selected was Ford Motor Company. It was started by Mr. Henry Ford, who was actually born in 1863. That was a really long time ago. So basically, Mr. Ford, as a child, not as a child, as a young man, he worked at some of the local mechanic shops in his town, just trying to soak in all of the information that he could because he was really interested in the subject. And it's even rumored that he built his first steam engine by the time that he was 15 years old. And I thought that was pretty impressive because I don't know many 15-year-olds that are out here building engines, especially, from that particular time period. So he actually constructed his first car back in 1896, but it wasn't until 1903 that the car was actually introduced to us here in America. That's when he, introduced it to us along with 11 other investors. And I thought that was pretty interesting while researching the topic because most companies that start off don't usually start off with this many investors. So I thought it was kind of interesting that he started off with a lot of stakeholders and then eventually kind of dwindled down versus other corporations tend to start off, maybe as a sole proprietor or something like that. And then eventually they branch off and try to get more stakeholders into that company. Mr. Ford did the opposite, and now majority of the stakeholders that are in the company are actually his family or blood relatives. So the first car that he produced, it really wasn't much of a car, but he did end up changing the way that we get around and just the way that we view transportation pretty dramatically there. So when I think of the Industrial Revolution, Henry Ford is definitely like one of the names that pop into the front of my brain there because not only did he bring the car to us here in America, but he also brought along just introducing the assembly line to us. So now we're able to produce not only cars but other items that have to be manufactured, but we're able to do it at a faster rate, and it's also much more efficient as well. So I felt like that definitely contributed to the Industrial Revolution there. And I like to say that he even created the engine that inspired the quote unquote American dream. So by him doing this and creating the assembly line, of course there had to be people that would be able to work it. So this created more jobs. And this also was a big part of that revolution as well. Americans were able to actually get out and get more jobs, and we were able to produce more and just able to make more money in general as an economy here. So that was a really good thing for the company because it made them, it made people kind of look at them as like a pillar of strength, and it was looked at as more of a stable and reliable type of company to work for. So, they produce all of these cars and things like that, but it's not a year-round type of thing. So they have something to where it's called furlough, or where they have to lay their employees off for a few months. They might be in production for 9 months out of the 12 months of the year. But what I like about them is that through the furlough program, they don't just say, well, we don't need you guys now, so you have to find something else. They basically give their employees some type of supplemental income during that time period so that they're able to retain their employees, and that way when it's time to get back into production, they don't have to spend that money to actually go out and hire new employees and things of that sort. So I thought that was pretty cool. But some of the issues that I found to be facing the company is just basically artificial intelligence. So pretty much since robotics programs came along with, advancing technology and the way that we do things, it takes away some of the jobs that were once utilized by humans, because now the robots are able to do the jobs with more efficiency and, like less problems and things of that sort. So it's pretty much no need for humans as it relates to the production line anymore. And then also another issue that they faced was just COVID. A lot of companies faced issues during COVID, but even though Ford is an American motor company, everything is not sourced in-house. So we make the cars here, but things like the computer chips that actually allow the cars to run, those are developed in different countries and things of the sort. So with COVID, when it first started, we weren't able to really outsource and, go get those chips and things of that sort. So it was a lot of vehicles put into production that pretty much are still sitting there, and it's actually around 40 to 50,000 vehicles that weren't able to be used because they're still currently waiting on chips from these other countries. And we have all these stipulations on getting things from other countries and other people during this pandemic at the moment. So my recommendations for the company would just be to try to find more in-house resources. So I don't know, maybe they could team up with a robotics program at a certain university or something like that, and then offer scholarships or things of that sort for engineers in that program. And then, maybe that'll help push the engineers to want to figure out how we can develop a chip that will work here in America without having to outsource and causing us to back up our production. And that'll help with that problem. And then as far as the artificial intelligence replacing humans, I don't really think that there's much that we can do to stop that, except for maybe, we can kind of keep the human touch or the human aspect to it, and maybe have things be checked by a real person, because machines can mess up as well, even though they are shown to have more efficiency, quote unquote, but there are certain things that it could miss. So maybe if we created a certain layer of jobs to where after the machines create the car, then maybe it's actually checked by a real person for safety and emissions, to make sure that once the cars go out on the road, that our loved ones are actually going to be protected, because this is a robot building something that a precious life is going to be inside. So yeah, pretty much those are my recommendations for the company. I think that it's a great company in conclusion. I really think that they are the main people or the main corporation that help push the American dream, and the reason why we have so many people come into America, as well as why it's such a diverse place as well. And like I said, I also like the fact that they have the furlough option, and my recommendation is to just keep the experience as personable as possible, and also just have that efficiency checked by humans as well. I appreciate you listening to my speech here, and thank you.